Okay, welcome everybody. So I'd love to get you laying down on your mat. We're going to do our yin pose pretty shortly, right from the beginning, but we can take a moment to just get centered laying down before we kind of get into everything. So just laying on the ground with your knees bent, feet on the floor is probably a good place to start. And take a couple of breaths to just kind of receive or invite the stillness if you're needing to kind of wiggle around a little bit or sigh or even stretch. Just allow that, let stillness come on its own terms. Taking a moment to acknowledge the earth beneath your body, the land that you are on. And acknowledging how you are connecting to the land right now. So it's November 1st as we're recording this, and um, it feels that here in Edmonton, there have been some kind of jumps to cold, and last night was another one, just a hint of snow, kind of entering into that colder season. And it's a waxing half moon right now. So we're just on our way towards that full moon in a little more than a week. So I think we're still on the new moon side, if I remember correctly. But that energy is building. So just taking a moment to kind of notice how your environment right now, the particular day that you are on, whenever you're watching this, just checking in with how it's all resonating for you. And if there's anything your body is wanting you to communicate to you about that. And with that, we're going to adjust into our first yin shape, which is banana. Okay. So I'm just going to shift my hips a little to the right and then straighten my legs out. Walk the legs over to the left, and I can try hooking my right heel over my left ankle. So I'm getting a little bit of a side stretch here. The arms can go up over the head, and I'm just inching my upper body to the left as well. So I'm in a passive side bend. Okay, the bum is down, so I'm not laying on my side, I'm laying on my back, but the body is side bending. Okay, so this shouldn't hurt. If you're getting any pinching in your lower back, you can unhook your feet, lessen the stretch a little bit, and or you can put a little prop underneath your right bum so it's just slightly angled. And I wanted to take banana asana today because it's sort of related to half moon. It's a little bit of a half moon shape. We're still in a little bit of that crescent. We're not quite in the first quarter, I believe, right at the moment. So we're going to be thinking a little bit about balance and building around the waxing moon. We're just going to rest in this shape for a little while, letting those ideas kind of settle. I'm just really softening here. Just allowing all those tight spaces to slowly stretch very gently. And from here, we'll make a slow transition to the other side. So if you're feeling like you need a little bit more time, that's fine. Otherwise, you can gently bring your body back through center. Shift the hips over to the left edge of your mat. Straighten out your legs, maybe hooking the left heel over the right ankle. Arms over the head, kind of inching the upper body to the right. And again, the two sides might be a little different from each other. They often are for me. So if you're getting any pinching in your lower back, just gently releasing the leg, lessening a bit, and or you could put a low prop underneath that left bum, but your hips should still be mostly facing up to the sky, not the sidewall. I'm holding my left wrist here, but I could also have my arms open. Kind of depends on how your shoulders are feeling. You could hold opposite elbows. Sometimes that feels good too. And just see if you can kind of breathe into the left side of your body, just letting everything relax. So seeing what it feels like to breathe all the way down into the bottom of your left lung. Couple more breaths here. And when you feel ready, gently coming back to center, unhooking your feet, bringing your hips back to the middle of your mat. And then I want to kind of come back to this intuitive movement principle we've been playing with a little bit. So I'll give some suggestions, but feel free to kind of follow that idea that your body often knows what you need, and just to kind of lean into what feels good in your body. So right now, just again, as an example, I'm washing my knees side to side like windshield wipers. And I'm turning my head away from my knees. And then I'm drawing the knees in, and I'm gonna play with a little bit of kind of moving the knees side to side. Maybe I'll do a happy baby, some circles. And again, I don't want to give too much of a direction with this, because we're coming out of the shape and we're starting to invite our flow practice. So we're gonna be entering into the vinyasa, the movement with breath, a little bit. So just coming in nice and gently. I'm feeling pretty stiff today as well. Lots going on, I'm noticing, in my hips and lower back. And I'm kind of slowly aiming myself towards hands and knees. And I want to work through some cat and cow shapes there. That could be done in a seat as well. So I'm going to roll over to one side. Coming to hands and knees, and then cat and cow, classically inhaling into a little back bend and exhaling to round. But again, you're more than welcome to take that a little more intuitively. Circle, side to side motion. Maybe you're already up in a downward dog. Maybe you're coming up and down. And I like to do this work with the eyes closed, because when the eyes are closed, we can listen a little bit more to what we're feeling rather than what we think the pose is supposed to look like. It helps us to be a little more present with the sensation. So if that feels safe or comfortable or interesting for you, go ahead and try it and just see where your body takes you. And as you're doing this, you might notice, I know many of you are sort of long-term yogis, so you might notice your ujjayi breath is already starting. And if not, you could invite it here. So taking some nice long inhales and exhales in and out through the nose. And there's that little bit of a lift at the soft palate, which creates a bit of an ocean sound. So I'm up in my downward dog now. So you could join me here if you want. And you could be bending one knee at a time. You could be swaying your hips side to side. You could also certainly be working in stillness. That can be intuitive too. And then I'm going to walk my feet to my hands, coming into standing forward bend. Here as well, you could be holding opposite elbows and swaying side to side. You could have your fingertips on the ground. You could have your elbows resting on your knees. And again, maybe this is just allowing gravity, kind of being in stillness, or maybe you're wanting to bend one knee at a time, sway, explore. So for me, this practice isn't about, right or wrong, getting certain shapes, quote unquote, correct. It's more about being in a practice of getting to know your body, moving in ways that feel good. And every day is different. Always an exploration there. So when you're ready, let's come up to standing. I'm going to roll, leaning back into my heels, gathering my belly in, and curling one vertebrae at a time, letting the head and shoulders be nice and heavy. If you have another way you want to come up, of course, that's fine. Eventually coming to stand in Tadasana. Lift your toes up, Spread them apart, reconnect them to the earth, and we'll begin our namaskar when you're ready. Inhale, reach your arms up to the sky. Exhale, dive forward over your legs. Halfway lift, draw forward, and then step your right foot back. That could be a high or a low lunge. I usually like to start with a low lunge. Reaching the arms up, hips pressing gently forward. And then downward facing dog on the exhale. Coming forward to plank on or off the knees. Lower down all the way. If you are coming to your belly, you could always do cat and cow here as well. Point the toes, roll the shoulders back, lift the heart. And then downward facing dog from there. Right leg is going to rise to the sky next time you inhale. And then step that foot through. It can help to lean a little to the left to bring the foot through. Higher low lunge, reaching up, hips press gently forward. And then forward bend at the top of your mat. Halfway lift. And exhale to fold. Then the knees look forward, rising up with a nice long spine. And then exhale, coming right down to the earth again. Halfway lift, inhaling. And the left foot steps back. Higher low lunge, inhaling to reach the arms up. And then downward facing dog. Coming forward to plank on or off the knees, lowering all the way, or you could do a little push up there with the elbows hugging in, and then pull through to cobra or upward facing dog as I'm doing here, with the kneecaps lifted, and then press back to downward dog. Good, left leg rising to the sky. And step through. Coming into your low lunge. And forward bend. Halfway lift. And fold. Bend the knees, rising all the way up. And as you exhale, bringing the hands together in front of the heart. And we'll begin again right away, reaching the arms up. And dive. Halfway lift. Right foot back, high or low lunge. Inhale to rise. Downward dog. Take vinyasa, which could always be cat and cow. Plank, lower down all the way, or a little push-up. Pull through to your cobra or your upward dog. And then downward dog as you exhale. Right leg is going to rise on your inhale. Take your time. And bring it through. Inhaling. And forward bend. Lengthen. And melt. Bend the knees, rising all the way up. And then down to the earth again. Halfway lift. Left foot steps back. Rising up. And downward dog. Through your variation of vinyasa, whatever is working for you here. Plank. Little push up. Maybe all the way down through your back bend. And returning to downward dog. Nice. Left leg is going to rise. Follow your breath. And through. Beautiful. Rising up. And forward bend. Halfway lift. Exhale to fold. Bend the knees, rising all the way up to standing. And then bring the hands together in front of the heart and take a few beats just to receive, to feel. Okay, inhale. As you exhale, bend your knees, reach your arms forward and up. coming into a chair pose. Okay, inhale. And as you exhale, maybe sink down a little bit lower. Then press into the heels and rise slightly. And then lower as you exhale. Rise a little bit, pressing into the heels, down and apart, and lower. One more time, rising up, hook the thumbs, coming up and opening the armpits a bit. Exhale, curve to the right side. Up through center, curve to the left. Up through center, release the arms, take them around behind the back, interlace the fingers, or grab your strap. Lift the heart, open the chest, and you can stay upright if this is what works for you. Sometimes I really like to be upright. Otherwise, you can bend the knees and fold forward, which changes the stretch a little bit. If you're in the fold, you can be still, or maybe you want to work with bending one knee at a time. And it's a good idea to have the knees at least a little bit bent here to take the work out of your lower back. Think of kind of sticking the bum up towards the sky. That's it. Nice, Emily. Inhale, and then gently release the hands down the backs of your legs. Reach the arms forward, bend your knees, and see if you can sit down maybe without your hands. And if you need your hands, that's just fine. Okay, gathering the belly in, we're gonna roll down. Not if you're pregnant. If you're pregnant, lay on your side first. Otherwise, just a gentle roll. You don't have to spend too much time with this. We're just coming down to the earth. And we'll do a little bit of work into the core here. Nice. Okay, so feet just underneath the knees is fine. You can keep your head down for this, or you can interlace your fingers around behind the back of your head and lift your shoulder blades up. Okay, take a moment. You might look at your belly. Draw the belly button in and up and the pelvic floor in and up. So there's a feeling of the belly hollowing and not popping forward. Keep that. And if you are pregnant or working with some lower back stuff, you'll do the marching that we've done many times before, just with the breath, 1 foot at a time. Okay, otherwise, if it's safe for you to do so, lift your shins up so that they're parallel with the earth and the feet are floating off the floor. Spread the toes, squeeze the inner knees a little bit together. As you inhale, slide the knees just past your hips. And as you exhale, bring the knees in. Inhale, knees slide just past the hips. Exhale, draw them in. Imagine you had a playing card between your knees. Don't drop it. Inhale and draw in. If this feels okay and you want to add a little bit, inhale, knees move away. And as you exhale, draw the knees in, and you can add a little bit of a curl to your tailbone. Try to focus on the lower half of your belly rather than the upper. So you can look up at the ceiling, keep the upper body relatively still, and just work on that little curl of the tailbone. Okay, this one 99% of the time makes me shake. Okay, it really gets into those deeper core muscles. So if you're shaking too, that's okay. It just means those muscles are working. Sort of deeper place. Try for 3 more. Keep that belly drawing in. Last one. And rest. You can take soles of the feet together, knees open wide. You can take knees together, feet wide. And if there's something that feels intuitively right for you here, please feel free to follow that. And take a few breaths just to consciously relax those core muscles, pelvic floor muscles. Beautiful. Okay, let's draw the knees into the chest. And we're gonna make our way back up to standing. Okay, I'm just gonna give you some options before we go there. So one option is to rock forward and back, and then sort of come right into your standing forward bend from there. Another is to rock forward and back, and then step or even jump back through your vinyasa from downward dog with bent knees through your vinyasa and then return to the top. Another is just to roll to your side and make your way to your standing forward bend. So those are all options. Okay, take the one that feels right for you in the moment. I'm going to take my vinyasa. And we'll all meet in standing forward bend. So if you're not there already, if you're in downward dog, just gently walking or maybe hopping to the top of your mat. And I'd recommend rolling up. We'll work with a little bit of balance, and I find the rolling up always helps me with that. Of course, if it doesn't work for you, come up whatever way does. When you come back to standing, just take a moment to receive it, to feel it. Maybe noticing a little bit more of that connection into your center. And then bring your hands together to touch in front of your heart. You could also do Hakini Mudra here with the fingertips touching. I actually like for this first part, palms together personally. And you're gonna lean into your left foot and plug your right leg into its socket so that the heel floats a little bit off the ground, but the knee is still straight. Okay, and then take that forward any amount. Press the hands into each other to help. Inhale. And exhale, you guys, doing great. Okay, let the heel come back down again. Bend the leg, and then reach for the foot behind you with your right hand. At this point, I like to tuck my left ring finger into my thumb, which I find really helps for balance. Hug the knees a little bit towards each other. Tuck the tailbone down until you get that nice stretch into your quadricep. Make sure you're not locking into your left knee. You can stay right here or work the right hand around to the inner arch of the foot so the palm faces to the outside. And then start to tip forward into dancer's pose. So I'd recommend bending the left knee even more. And think of heart forward with the hand and the gaze. So you're not opening up a lot to the side. You'll obviously have a little bit of asymmetry in your hips, but they should be mostly facing forward. Let the right shoulder roll back. Ujjayi breath. Inhale, then as you exhale, do your best to straighten the leg, maybe bring the hands to the heart. So just a brief transition in airplane pose and then step back. I fell out of that one, just so you know. Bring your knee down, coming into a nice low lunge here. Reaching the arms up to the sky. Square the hips forward, draw the tailbone down, and gently press into the hips. So you're still feeling that kind of lengthening for the quadricep. And then bend your right elbow, hold on to it with the left hand, and press up into it right here. That's perfect. Or side stretch a little bit to the left. Hug the inner thighs a bit. Beautiful. Then inhale up through center, and we'll come into half split, Ardha Hanumanasana. So the hands are going to come down. You could use your blocks here if they're helpful. Okay, straighten your front leg. You don't have to, in fact, you shouldn't lock the knee. You can have a bit more of a bend there. Flex the foot, and I'm definitely in the mood for the flow. So I'm going to inhale to lift the heart and exhale to melt into it. If you're feeling like you want to be in stillness, you could be in either of those places, lifting the heart and drawing the hip back. Or you could be folded forward a little bit. But wherever you are, think left hip a little bit back, foot nice and active. Sometimes it helps to even imagine that you're trying to push the mat forward with your left heel. So good. Okay, from here, bend into your front leg and we'll come into a twist. So there's a couple different ways to do that. You could plant your right hand, reach the left arm up, coming to a little more open twist, or you could take your elbow across your thigh and line up the forearms, coming into a little bit more of a compressive version of a twist. And in any of these options, you could lift up your back knee if you want to. Shoulders on the back, lifting the heart forward, gently drawing the belly in. Beautiful. Inhale. And let's come into three-legged downward dog, or you could do three-legged hands and knees. So palms to the earth, left leg reaches up and back, and just you can open the hip if that feels good. You can move it around if you want. Some of you, if you're having a bit more energy this half moon, you might want to take wild thing, letting the foot come behind you, taking a little back bend. And then any variation of a vinyasa that works for you, including cat and cow, including rest. And then we'll take a couple of breaths just to check in, to feel, wiggle around if you need to. Okay, and then we'll meet in downward dog, or hands and knees works too. And take your right leg, please, up into the sky. Roll the hips open, bend the knee. Then bring your knee in towards your chest, optionally shoulders over the wrist. That's going to add a bit. And then the knee opens out to the right side and then back up to the sky. And we're going to do 2 more of those. So the knee comes in, you may or may not come forward. Shoulders over wrists, knee opens to the right, and then back up to the sky. Last one. And then step your right foot through to warrior 2, please. Good. So front heel roughly in line with the back arch. Tailbone not overly tucked, but down. Hips relatively level. Arms open. Have your right knee over your ankle. And I'm just going to invite you to turn the palms up today. Soften the elbows and press the thumbs slightly back until you feel a little bit of an opening in chest. One more breath. And then bring your elbow to your thigh and come into side angle. Left bicep can come over the ear. Tailbone points towards that back heel. A little turn of the chest up to the sky. And some of you might like holding the back or the side of your head and just getting a little bit more of a stretch into that shoulder. Stay here, or if you want to get into the hip a little bit more, you can take a half bind with your left arm around your back and maybe bring the right hand down on the inside of the leg to a block or the floor. If you're feeling pretty open today, you're feeling pretty into it, you can link your arms around your thigh, coming into a full bind. I'm feeling like, for me, not right now. Keeping the core strong, back leg nice and supportive. Excuse me. Okay, and then from here, triangle. You may or may not want to change what your hands are doing. Okay, you can try to just straighten your leg. Reaching that left arm up. Maybe you need to shorten your stance a little bit, that's fine. Yeah, block underneath the hand is a great idea. Inhale, and then gently look down and simply step forward to the top of your mat. So coming onto the ball of your back foot and step up. Halfway lift, exhale to fold. And then again, take your sweet time to roll up, letting your head and shoulders be heavy. Maybe that's a few breaths. When you get to the top, take a moment to receive. Maybe that's in stillness, maybe it's in fidgeting. Bring the palms together. Press the hands into each other and see if that can help you draw the shoulders down the back. Lean right, plug your left leg into its socket. So you're kind of pulling up through the hip flexor, through the core, and then send the leg forward any amount. Press the hands into each other. Inhale, and then let the foot float down, bend the leg, and hold on to the foot behind you. You might take your right ring finger into your thumb. Hug the inner thighs together a little bit, tailbone down, knee down. Feeling that quadricep stretch. Don't be afraid to reach for a chair or a wall if you need a little support with your balance today. You can stay here or sneak the hand so the palm goes over the toenails and then to the inner edge of the foot. So the palm is facing out. Bend the right knee a little bit more and begin to kick the foot into the hand, reaching the right arm forward, dancer's pose. Let the left shoulder roll back. Breathe, keep your gaze steady on something that's not moving. Hopefully you're not staring into kind of the abyss of a white wall. It's really hard to find a balance point when you're doing that. Okay, bring the hands to the heart. If you can, gently release the leg back behind you. So you're coming through airplane just for a brief transition there, and then gently landing the foot. Nice work. Okay, we're coming into low lunge. You can do high lunge here if it works better for you. But I like low lunge for this. Reaching the arms up. Square the hips, tailbone down. Ooh, my left hip is like having some things to say for me today, I'm noticing. You can stay right here, bend that left elbow. Maybe lean a little bit to the right. And I'm supporting my left hip by squeezing my left bum, pressing my hips a little forward and breathing. Beautiful. Gently release the arms up. Bring the hands down and straighten your front leg. So depending on your stance, you might need to shift the foot a little bit forward. We want that back hip just right over top of the knee. Don't lock the knee, but you can definitely bend it. Straight is fine, just not locked. Okay, and then again, you can lift the heart, stick the bum out. You can definitely stay there. You can fold, you can stay there. Or if you're like me and it's a flow day, lift the heart as you inhale and fold gently as you exhale. And if you want to exhale at the mouth, sometimes that can help to move the energy even a little bit more. If like me, there's some stuff in your hips that's kind of coming out, breathe. Ah. Okay, as you're ready, look forward, bend into your front leg, and let's find some variation of a twist. So the left hand can be down, right arm up, and that could have, the hand could be pretty far away from the leg. Or maybe you want to try bringing the elbow across, palms together. And I like to press the leg and the arm kind of into each other there. Okay, shoulders down the back, lifting the heart. And in any of these variations, you could lift up your back and knee. That's just going to add a little more muscular strength to the equation. Not that you're not using muscular strength if you're down here, it's just a little bit different. These twists are really good if you do feel a lot of gunk in your sort of lower back, upper back, shoulders. One more inhale. And then we'll make our way back into three-legged downward facing dog. So connecting the palms, sending your right leg back and up, and then just see what feels good for you. So you might just be extending, you might shake it out a little. You could do a circle. And those of you that are finding, so waxing moon is like pretty good for energy. Okay, if you want to add that wild thing, go for it. It's always interesting to check in with, you know, what our energy is doing day to day. Nice, you guys, back to downward dog, and then whatever variation of vinyasa serves you right now. And that could mean child's pose, okay, if you're needing a little more of a rest and stillness. And what you need can change each time we return here. So try to stay present with what's happening in your body. Okay, from downward dog or hands and knees, let's take the left leg up to the sky. Okay, on an exhale, we'll bring the knee in towards the chest. You might come forward to plank. And then the knee opens to the left and then back up to the sky. 2 more like that. Knee comes forward, maybe shoulders too. The knee opens to the left. I want you to feel that outer hip activating. And then 1 more. Nice, and then step through to warrior 2. Front heel bisecting the back arch. I like my back toes turned in just a little bit. And a big thing for me in warrior 2 is I want to try to level the pelvis. So that means generally lowering my right hip a little bit. And then I actually feel my hip flexor. Arms open, and again, I'll invite you to turn the palms up and just gently press the thumbs back until you feel chest. You might feel this in your arms a little bit too. Nice expansive breaths. And then side angle, bringing your elbow to your thigh, right bicep alongside the ear. And I like to really press from the outer right heel up through the fingertips, and I'm kind of drawing my ribs back. You could also try holding the back or the side of your head and just adding your shoulder a little bit in there. Stay here, or you could try a little bit more of the hip opening variation. So you could wrap your right arm around your lower back and bring the left hand down on the inside of the leg. You could absolutely use a block there. And again, if you're feeling like you have the space to bind today, go for it. Not for me today. Okay, and then you might keep your arms as they are and come into triangle. So you might simply straighten your front leg. You might need to adjust what your hands are doing. You might need to shorten your stance a little bit. If you're coming into triangle sort of directly from here, it's going to be generally a bit of a longer stance, and you might feel like you can get your hand a little lower down. And you might need to come right up, and that's fine too. Okay, inhale, and then gently look down and come to the top of your mat. So you can bend that back leg, coming onto the ball of the foot, step forward. Lengthen halfway. Exhale to fold, maybe exhale at your mouth if you want. You can stay right here enjoying your forward bend, or you can step back and take vinyasa. Okay, and if you've just taken vinyasa, that's great. Stay in downward dog. If you're in forward bend, go ahead and walk back and bring down your knees. So we're on hands and knees. Okay, you might want to sit back for a moment and just circle your fists or your hands, and I'll just give some options for where we're going to go next. So we've done a few things to prepare for headstand. So I'm going to offer that. I know not all of you necessarily want to come into the full inversion or put weight on your head, so we'll give an option for that too. If you know you want to take your headstand and you have a wall to work with, you could bring your mat up to a wall, okay? Otherwise, so option 2, headless headstand. You can interlace your fingers. So this is the headstand mudra that I like. There are a few of them. It's space between the palms, so I'm not clasped, but there's just a little room there, and my pinky's tucked in, so it's nice and comfortable on the ground. And I'm going to bump my head right there if I'm doing headstand. If not, I'm just going to be looking down. So headless headstand. I'm going to take that mudra, elbows in, kind of narrow. I'm just going to look at the ground and work in my dolphin downward dog. This is lovely for the shoulders. Maybe you're bringing your feet in a little bit. And if you're ambitious but not wanting your head on the ground, you can play with forearm stand at the wall in this mudra, okay? Otherwise, you can put your head right down on the mat in between the wrists. And I'm just going to use this wall and talk you through that as I go. So feel free to come with me. I know some of you have done this before, and we'll see what happens, okay? So finding that mudra, head down, coming into a downward dog shape, and you want to be coming up high enough that a lot of your weight is in the elbows, less so on your head. Okay, even here, my gaze is steady on a point on the ground, and I want to kind of find that balance between pressing into my elbows and my hands to find my balance, which is funny today. Squeezing the legs together. Oh, headstand. Headstand is a long time love of mine. It took me a long time to feel comfortable in headstand. And then it's changed for me a bit since having a baby, and we're just still getting to know each other again. It's a journey. When this feels complete for you, come on down into your child's pose. And I'd recommend having your hands beside your hips so your shoulders can kind of relax. Give your head a little rock from side to side. And then you can gently roll up to a seat. And come to sitting on your bum. You might want a little cushion underneath your bum to sit on. And I'm just going to sit on the very edge of this bolster, so I just have a little bit of support. And you can take the soles of your feet together, knees open wide. And we're kind of moving into some yin here. So this will be a little more open. So the heels are not right close to the groin, they're a little farther away. If this bothers your knees or your hips right now, if you're feeling sensation here, I want you to go ahead and put your blocks underneath your knees so that your legs can relax, okay? Sit up tall, relax your shoulders, and then let your chin drop towards your chest. And then roll your head towards the right side, nice and slow. And when you're ready, towards the left side, so chin comes down, slowly roll to the left. Okay, and then chin down. Bring your head back up to center just gently, and then fold from the hips. So that doesn't have to be very far. Just gently allowing your body to fold forward and the chin to drop. Okay, feel free to use your bolster, your blocks to support you here, just your hands. And I don't want you to go to your absolute max, just kind of gently folding, not pulling. Let the head be heavy if that feels safe. You can stay here or lean your spine, your head, just about an inch or two to the right. So you're just slightly leaning towards your right leg. The stretch should change a little bit. Stay soft. When you're ready, gently rolling over to the other side, to the left leg. Nice and heavy and soft, not pushing anything, just using gravity. And when that side feels complete for you, gently coming back through center. Take a breath right there. And then slowly roll up in your own time. If you feel like you need more time here, that's fine. When you come up to seated, you might want to roll your shoulders a little bit. You can use your hands to help you bring your knees together. Widen the feet, and then take a couple of windshield wipers, nice and slow. Okay, and then lay down on your back. And I just want you to take a couple of pelvic tilts just to release anything in the lower back that might still need a release. So just gently tilting the pelvis forward as you inhale, belly expands. Exhale, curling the tailbone in, flattening your back to the ground. Just maybe 3 of those, more if you feel like you need more. And then we'll prepare for Shavasana. So if there's something that you feel like you need before you can fully rest in Shavasana, please feel free to take that, even if it's just intuitive movement. Maybe there's a last pose that you need. I feel like I could use a little twist. Maybe shaking the legs up towards the sky. Maybe you're ready, you're just putting that bolster underneath your knees, putting your blanket on, however you like to rest in your Shavasana. Go ahead and do that. Just sort of preparing for your rest. When you get there, taking maybe one last deep breath just to receive. And then allow your breath to become passive and simply rest. So if you're noticing that you'd like to rest a bit longer and you have the time to do that, please feel welcome to stay. Otherwise, you can begin to deepen your breath and bring some small movements into your hands and feet. Maybe there's a little bit of intuitive movement here as well. Eventually, you can draw in your knees and curl over to one side. And then make your way up to a seat. And place your hands over top of your heart or together at your heart, whatever feels most right now. And gently bow your mind to your hands, your heart, your breath, your body, whatever it took for you to be here in your practice. Honor and acknowledge the long and complex lineage that is with us in our yoga practice. Honor and acknowledge the sacredness of the land, and honor each other. Thank you for sharing this practice with me.